Choo-choo! The hate train is running, people. The shade is being thrown. It is getting dark up in here, which is fitting considering that the subject of all of this shade is none other than Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. Everyone out there right now is just shitting on it. All of the game reviews are pouring in, and the reviews are not good. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today and tell you why, despite all of the hate and negativity and the shade, I don't think any of it actually matters. So we're going to get into that coming up. Hey, before we get started, can you do me like a huge favor? I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds. I'm just gonna stare at you. It's gonna be a little awkward, but just go ahead and, head on down, hit that little subscribe button, ring that little bell, and subscribe. It's that easy. So this video was actually supposed to be my own review of Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, but the gamer gods conspired against me today, and I woke up early this morning, got ready to download the game. I was having problems with my Xbox Game Pass for some freaking reason, which was awful, and then right as I got the game downloaded, got it all queued up, ready to go, I got like 4 minutes playing as Wolfgar, swinging that big hammer around, and out went my power.
We're losing power!
So I came into the office and started looking at some of the reviews that were already out there, and they are, by and large, not that great. So I think there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people are kind of hating on D&D Dark Alliance right now, and I want to talk about why. And ultimately, I think that all of these sort of criticisms of Dark Alliance can boil down to really 3 big things. And I wanted to take a second to talk about those 3 huge reasons why everybody seems to be kind of shitting on the game. Reason number 1, lack of character and story development. Look, you're making a game for people that play D&D. Storytelling and character development is the shit we live for. We make goofy characters with all kinds of issues, whether they be abandonment issues, daddy issues, being way too privileged and never having to actually face a challenge in your entire life. But the whole point of a D&D campaign is to tell a story, to see how this weird, twisted, broken, kind of weird person that you've created and given life to is going to react and change and grow under the circumstances of the campaign. To not really address character and narrative development in a way that is deep and complex and satisfying is a huge misstep to me from Wizards of the Coast. I mean, especially when you're talking about some of the most iconic characters that have ever been created in the D&D multiverse. I mean, we're talking about Dritz Do'Urden, Brunor Battlehammer, Caddy Bree, and Wolfgar. I mean, these are the companions of the halls. They're big leagues. And Wizards of the Coast came in and kind of didn't do a whole lot with them. Consensus across the board from every review that I watched was that the story development was not that great. And that was so disheartening for so many people, I think, who were coming into this with this expectation of getting to know these characters in a very visceral way because you could sort of see them and step into their skin. So I think that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is I think that it's just a little repetitive. Again, across the board, it seems like unanimously so many of the reviews that I watched earlier today, whether they were IGN's or this guy's, everybody said that the sort of design of the level and the design of the game was a little bit repetitive. One guy went so far as to say that it basically is just running down a long hallway, getting to an open space, fighting some stuff, and then going down another hallway.
It never ends.
And the thing is again, when you're comparing a game or when you're making this game for a D&D audience who is all about variety, creating a sort of like repetitive style of gameplay, again, is a bit of a sort of a disservice to the substance of what inspired it. Now, the consensus seems to be that the design of the overall game and the way that it looks is absolutely beautiful, but again, somewhat repetitive. And I think that that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of people are having with it as well, is that it just doesn't have the sort of variety that we want to see from a game that bears the D&D moniker. And finally, the third and maybe the biggest reason why I think that so many people are dissatisfied with the game as it is right now in this moment today is it feels unfinished.
No, I'm not done yet.
So many reviews complained about how the AI is kind of wonky or unresponsive. By the way, for people who are used to a gaming system where every single decision has real consequences,
when will you learn that your actions have consequences?
that's a big problem. People also complained about how the movements of the game were kind of jittery and unsmooth and didn't look like they'd been properly played through and rendered. And people were complaining about things like, creatures appearing with no bodies, or again, that AI being super unresponsive. So there were a lot of these problems that made it feel almost rushed or unfinished, and like it didn't get the tender love and care that we want to be given to a game that has been around for so long and that has millions of very loyal, very rabid fans with, to be frank, incredibly high expectations of something that, again, bears those two red Ds, But I think ultimately it boils down to those three things, a lack of general character arc and story development, a feeling of being repetitive or sort of, just monotonous in a few ways, and lastly, feeling like it was rushed and unfinished and like it didn't actually get the time and development that it deserved. But with all of that being said, am I still gonna go buy the game?
You bet your sweet ass I am.
Of course I'm gonna buy the game. I'm gonna play it with my friends, and honestly, I know I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna have a great time, and I'm probably not gonna be looking for things like whether or not the render speed is exactly how fast I want it to be. I'm there for the experience, and that review will be forthcoming for you guys very soon. But that's gonna be the next video, and I'm very, very excited to announce that I might just have a special guest joining me for that review, who's also gonna be playing the game, who has never played D&D at all. So we're gonna have someone who has never played the game versus an experienced Dungeon Master and player who has a lot of expectations of the game, and we're gonna compare those two expectations and the experiences that come out of playing this game from both of us, and I'm super, super excited for that. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This was a pretty quick one, but I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about D&D Dark Alliance. Have you seen any of the reviews? Do you agree with them? Are you playing it right now? I would love to hear about it. Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you for your support, and game it till you make it. Bye, guys.